Wow! What's happening, everybody? It's your boy. We back, baby. We back. Welcome to Let's Talk with Stanley Doucette. I am here, your host, and we have another powerful episode today. I cannot wait to share with you guys this powerful episode. So, regardless of where you are, if you're driving, take your time to get where you're going. But if you're sitting down at your cubicle or if you at your house or wherever, grab something to take some notes with on this one. This one is very specifically for every individual. Get your young adults, your young kids, get everybody, because we're going to be talking about finances today. Yeah, we're going to talk about finances. A lot of times, for whatever the reason is, we don't have that financial education that some of the elite have. Well, today we're going to get into something very specific about finances, right? So before we do that, I want to welcome everybody from listening in from all over the world, whether you're in South of Florida or South of France, South America or South Asia, wherever you are, welcome to Let's Talk. I want to shout out to everybody in the Ninth Ward. Wow, what's happening? Everybody in New Orleans, everybody in the metro Atlanta area, just wherever you are, shout you out. Now, to everybody that's listening in for the very first time, this is probably the best time to listen in, because this is going to go specifically to your pocketbook. Yes, it is that powerful. As a matter of fact, if you have a young adult, college student, high school student, someone in that likes in that early 20s, excuse me, make sure you have them listen to this one, because I believe this is going to help them tremendously, all right? So let me give you the topic, and then we're going to ride into it. This one is financial literacy versus financial empowerment. Let me say that again. Financial literacy versus financial empowerment. Now, most people believe these are the same. Most people really believe these are the same. They're not. They're absolutely not the same. They're not. They're just not. So, let me say this. Financial literacy is understanding how money works. Let me say that again. That's knowledge. Financial literacy is knowledge. If you just put it that way, financial literacy is knowledge. It is understanding how money works. It includes like budgeting, saving, investing, taxes, insurance, compound interest. Did I say savings already? Debt management. You know, all of those things. Those are things that are included into financial literacy. Financial literacy is just the information, right? We got to get that information. You know how much money or how money works, and some people still struggle financially. You know how it works, but for whatever reason, we still struggle financially. Well, let me give you the other side. Financial empowerment is doing, right? So remember, financial literacy is knowing, but financial empowerment is doing. I hope y'all got that. Wrote that down? All right, let me do it one more time for the people that write slow like me. Financial literacy is knowing. Financial empowerment is doing. Financial empowerment is simply the ability and the confidence to take action with what we know. See, a lot of times we have a lot of goals, and I'm not going to get into the difference between goals and a plan. I'm not doing that. I can hear my partner in my head right now. I'm not doing that. I'm not getting into that. But there's a difference, right? And I'm a person, I always talk about this. We have to create action. We gotta do some stuff in order for things to happen. I know a lot of people think even when we pray, we don't do nothing. You know, they always talk about faith without works is dead. You still have to do something, right? So financial empowerment is the ability and confidence. Listen to that. It's not just the ability, because somebody can have an ability and don't do nothing, but it's also the confidence to take action with what you know. Now, what that includes, creating a plan, making decisions. Some people don't even like, y'all would believe how many people really don't like to make decisions. Developing an income stream, right? A lot of people say, oh, well, how do I do that? Figure it out. Google it. Go do something, but develop an income stream. I know a way. Matter of fact, hit me up in the chat. If you want to develop an income stream, hit me up in the chat. I got you. I know exactly how we could develop an income stream. Building assets. Yeah, build some assets. Controlling spending. Teaching others. So all of those are things that we're doing, taking ownership of your financial future. That's what we're doing. So, all right, so we broke that down, and I'm starting to get a little excited here. Financial empowerment is application. That's all it is. Knowledge without action creates frustration. Let me say that again so y'all can write that down. Write this down. Knowledge without action creates frustration. Let me say that again. Knowledge without action creates frustration. Action without knowledge creates mistakes. So let me do the first one again. Knowledge without action creates frustration. Let me share this with you guys. There's a lot of us out here in these streets that we have a lot of goals and visions and dreams and all of those things, right? We have it. But we never create any type of motion or any type of action to get to it. And what happens is, if we're going to be honest, we're going to be 100. We'll get on social media and we'll see other people that actually have it or have gotten it or received it or working towards it, and we'll get frustrated on that. Or we don't see any movement on our end and we get frustrated because we're like, I can't believe I'm just frustrated. Well, on the opposite side, let me stop that. Let me finish that statement. The reason why I say that is because we don't create any action or any movement towards getting that. We'll say, I got this goal, but then we sit on the sofa. I got this goal, but then we just riding around all around town. I got this goal, but we don't ever want to do something outside of our job. Well, so all of those things that begin to create frustration. Action without knowledge creates mistakes. Now, let me flip it. Some people just go out and just go gang banging. Hey, I'm just going to get this and I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. Let's go get it. Let's go get it. And they're creating all of this stuff, but don't have no knowledge. None. And creates all kind of mistakes. You're setting up your business wrong. You're setting up all kind of stuff wrong. You're saying the wrong words. I remember in business, we had a company, and they had a gentleman that was just out there, saying the wrong words. When I say the wrong word, just everything was words. But boy, he was out there, somebody would say, he was loud and wrong. He was loud and wrong, but he was out there and he was creating all kind of mistakes. But let me talk about success. Success requires both your knowledge and the action. And that's when you begin to have that level of success. All right. All right. We rolling right along. We're rolling right along. Matter of fact, wave your hands. Just wave your hands. Just real quick, wave your hands. Because I was laying in the bed and thinking about what podcast I was going to do today. And when I realized and I started thinking about some things and I got frustrated. Let me keep it up. Can I keep it 100 with y'all? I just got frustrated, right? I got frustrated because there are some things I'm working towards and it's not coming fast enough. And y'all know sometimes you in leadership, y'all know sometimes we just get impatient. Let's be 100. We just get impatient. So you're working towards things and you're having some success, but it's not going as fast as you want, right? And I started getting frustrated, but then I started to dial and started to pray and listen, and they started talking about this financial literacy piece, right? And financial empowerment, and really beginning to hone that in. And not so much to me, but to everybody in our community, in our family. How do we now take advantage of those things that we have out there in these streets? How do we take advantage of all of the blessings and bountiful intelligence that we have but we don't do anything with it. Well, we don't want to go to the grave full. We want to go to the grave empty. If that makes sense, right? We don't want to go and have all of these ideas and all of these thoughts and everything, and we never act on them. So today, when I started thinking about it, and I realized, you know what? Let's begin to put this together and let's see what it looks like. So when we really start putting this together and thinking about it, that's when we say, you know what? This is important, because we don't get frustrated. Let me tell y'all a inside story about your boy. I have big goals, right? Big vision. I dream a lot. I focus forward. All of these things, there's some big things. I mean, some elaborate things that I'm working on. But I remember one day I started getting frustrated. And then I got frustrated another day. And I remember I was talking to my brother, and he said, man, put together a plan. And so I started talking to him, and he was like, that's cool, that's a start, but you got to dig down deep for your plan and start putting your plan together for you. Why am I sharing this? Because financial literacy and financial empowerment, in my opinion, runs similarly in what I was doing. I had all of the thoughts and the information and the goals and those things, but I was not putting things in motion. Not because I didn't want to, because on the empowerment piece, it got to take action. I was taking some levels of action, but not the detailed action I needed to talk to myself about. So when that happened, I was getting frustrated. Well, when I put it in place and started working towards it, the frustration went away, because now you have something you're working towards. You're not thinking about what Pookie and Ray Ray doing. You're not thinking about what's going on over here and over there. You're specifically focused in on your own plan, and you're working forward with that. See, now that we put that together, now you have the financial literacy, and now you have the financial empowerment, so now you're working towards it. I shared that because I feel a lot of people actually on this particular podcast, we have a lot of information, but we're not doing the empowerment piece and putting it together and putting action behind it. So today, as you're writing, don't think about, oh, I should have called Johnny to get on a podcast. Have them go back and listen to it later on today, right? But for you, focus forward. Focus in on, okay, what we need to do to help you get to that next step. So I don't know why that came from, but I just wanted to share that, all right? So the gap most people never cross. Here's the gap most people never cross. Many people know they should save, right? Many people know they should invest. Many people know they should get out of debt. Oh, we know that. Many people know we should have emergency monies or save, some kind of emergency reserve. We know that, but we don't do it. Yes, sir. Yeah, I'm talking to you. Yep, you can shake your head. Don't worry. They say if you can't say amen, say ouch. We might be saying a lot of ouches. But for whatever reason, we don't do it. Why? Because information does not automatically create transformation. Just because you got the information, that don't mean somebody's going to do something about it. There's a lot. Think about this. I think this is a great example. Anybody ever had a vending machine, whether you're getting a Coca-Cola out the vending machine, or a Sprite, or Dr. Pepper, or Red Fanta, or whatever your favorite drink is, right? And you want to get that out of the vending machine. Well, you may be very thirsty. You're thirsty. You just ate let's say a po' boy or some crawfish, or you just ate some ribs, or you just ate some lamb chops or some barbecue, and you're thirsty. They got a vending machine. Well, go to the vending machine and do it, and get you a drink. Well, there's a few things you have to do from an action standpoint in order to get your goal, in order to get what you want. Number one, you have to first walk to the actual vending machine. Yep, I said it. You have to walk to the vending machine. or go to it, right? You can't say, oh, I'm going to get a drink and, oh, it can't. No, no. You got to walk to the vending machine. Now that you walk to the vending machine, here's another action. You actually have to put the money in the vending machine. Now, this is a sore spot for Stanley because, some of these vending machines, they be asking for $4 and $5 for drinks. Yeah, we'll discuss that on another podcast. But anyway, so you go in and you put your dollars in the machine or your quarters in the machine. Whatever the amount is, $2.25, you put the $2.25 in or whatever it may be. Now that you put that amount in, listen to me. You have to do another action. What's the other action? You have to select which one you want. Whether it's a Coke, a Diet Coke, a Pepsi, a Diet Pepsi, a Sprite, zero sugar, whatever. You have to select it. After you select it, then here's another action. You have to press the appropriate buttons to get it. Yeah. See, all of those actions that we do, it's not that we can't do it. We just may not have been informed that we have to do it with our finances. So now that we press the appropriate button and now the drink comes down to the bottom, guess what? It's another action. You have to reach down or reach into it, press the little door open, and grab the actual drink. Yes, all of those steps just to get a drink out the vending machine. And if you want to go a step further, even when you grab it, guess what you have to do? Take the top off so you can drink it. You did all of those actual actions to get a drink. You cannot tell me you do not have the skill set, the mental fortitude, or anything to actually do the same thing with your finances. The thing is, most of us were never taught about finances for real. That we just weren't taught. Well, today, you can't say that anymore. So today, we're breaking that down. So when we talk about the gap most people never cross, yeah, we know about savings and investing and getting out of debt and all those things. But because information does not automatically create transformation, we have to put some things in place. So the bridge between legacy and empowerment is simple. It's one word. Y'all ready for that word? Ding, 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 ding. It's discipline. Discipline turns information into habits. Then you go to habits. Habits turns action into results. See, if you're not disciplined enough to walk to the vending machine, you'll never get the drink. If you're not disciplined enough to actually put the monies in, you're not going to do it. If you not disciplined enough to press the button and so on, right? You have to do those things. Your habits then become automatically. Once you do it once or twice, now it becomes a habit. Oh, I want a drink. Oh, I got to go to the vending machine. Here's I got to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now we got it because now habits have turned into the results you want. What's the results? A nice cold drink, regardless of what it is. You got that nice water, the nice whatever. You're drinking that. Results now create that freedom that you're looking for in your finances. Discipline turns information into habits. If you are familiar with lowering your debt and so many other things I'm going to share in a little bit, it goes from discipline and now you start turning those things into a habit. As a matter of fact, let me give y'all something for free. I was going to hold this to the end, but let me give y'all this for something for free. Write this down. 10, 10, 25, 55. 10, 10, 25, 55. Your first 10%. Now this is me. You can do it however you want to do it, but this is how I stay out of debt. This is how I make sure I'm where I'm supposed to be. 10% goes to your savings. Now, excuse me, not your savings, your tithes and offerings or your charitable donations or whatever. That's off the top. For me, it's tithes. That's off the top. Off the rip, you get the 10%. The second 10% goes to you. Yep. That goes to you. That goes to you. That's yours. Whether you want to throw it out the window, you want to go buy something, whatever, that goes to you. 25%, that is for, I call it your educational investment on you. Whether it's empowerment, whether it's getting more education on building your wealth, reading more books, going to conferences, all of those things to build you, right? So that's where you get the books from and all of those things. That's that 25%. Because once you get that information, you're going to create that action. And now that 25%, believe it or not, is going to be probably outside of the first 10%, going to be the most valuable thing that you're going to do, in my opinion. But it has served me well. And then the last 55%, for those that are wondering, that's for your bills. Yeah, that's for pay your bills and all those things. Now, some people may say, well, what happens if I have more bills than the 55%? Then you're going to have to follow this plan that we're going to talk about in order to get that to 55% or less and be able to make some things happen, all right? Ooh, this is getting really, really good. I hope y'all wrote that down. Remember, the first 10% is your tithes and offerings or charitable donation. The second 10%, that's for you. The next one, the 25%, that is for your, I call it financial education, being able to build you, going to conferences to educate yourself, sitting down with advisors, all of those things, reading books, that comes from that pot of money. And then the 55%, yes sir, that's your bills. All right, that's your bills. You know, some people I can hear them saying, well, what about the savings? And what about, listen, I'm not going to get all into that. That's not what that topic for. You can pick out and where you want to do it, but that's how I've been doing it. I got this from a multi-billionaire, and I think it's safe to say he's doing okay in his life. Right? All right. So let's do this. 4 levels of financial growth. 4 levels of financial growth. This is where a lot of people stay for whatever reason. It is what it is. Level 1 is survival. Money comes in, money goes out. We stay in survival mode. Today, I want to help us grow past survival mode. But a lot of times we're just in survival mode. Money come in, money go out. Money come in, money go out. What we focus in on is just, hey, if I could just pay my bills, right? We are trying to manage all of this debt. We don't want to have any type of emergencies, financial emergencies, right? So we're focusing on paying our bills, managing our debt. That's where we are. That's the survival mode. So that's level 1. That's survival mode. Now, level 2, let's get to stability. Now you have a budget. And now you have a couple dollars in your, let's say, your normal savings account. Right? Not a lot, but just, something. So you're trying to stabilize yourself. You got a budget. I just gave you like a little plan to help with your budgeting and all of those things. So now you're starting to work towards that, all right? And what we're going to focus in on there is living, listen to this, living below your means. You have to live below your means. We want to eliminate bad debt. Now, let me, because I wanted to make sure I wrote this down to make sure y'all get bad debt. What is bad debt? High interest credit cards. We got, when I was in school, when I first got to school, I don't know if you guys remember this, they would have all of these different credit card companies around, right? And Discover and Visa and MasterCard, American Express, and so on. And you get that first credit card. And my first credit card, I had a limit of $500. $500. Not $5,000, $500. I was excited. It was a Discover card. I was crunk. I'm going to just leave that there. The interest rate on that thing was, ooh-wee. It might have been 9,000%, not literally. But when we talk about eliminating bad debt, that's one. If you have high interest credit cards, you may be able to get another credit card to bring it all into one, and then to also lower your interest rate. Because if you lower your interest rate, that's money you're saving. So you want to lower that, right? You want to, if you can combine all of them, you may want to do that as well. But if you can combine them and lower your rate and lower the amount you're paying every month, hey, that's going to be a blessing to you. That's going to save you some monies in the long run. Financial margins, what is that? Increase revenue without raising costs. So you can increase revenue without raising costs, or decrease it without sacrificing anything, right? Let me give you an example. I look at a lot of YouTube. And they got YouTube Premium. Well, a lot of times I look at YouTube Premium, I forgot it was like $11 a month, $12, something like that a month, right? Well, if we're in a space where we are struggling, or every penny counts, well, you may have to eliminate that, what is it, $13.99, $11.99, whatever it is. You may have to eliminate that because now you want to build and create some of those margins. So even though it may be only, let's say at the most $14, well, bring that $14 back in-house. You don't have to pay Google. They're Alphabet. They're a multi-gazillion dollar, or actually a multi-trillion dollar company. So, hey, bring that back into your account, right? Or the same thing as when you have Spotify or Apple Music and, some of those things. Hey, listen, we may have to look at the commercials right now, right? We may have to do those things in order for us to begin to build some financial margins. Listen, we can go back and get it later, but right now we may have to claw that back or eliminate that until we're able to actually afford it, okay? So now, that's level 2. Remember, level 1 is survival, level 2 is stability. Now, level 3 is growth. Your money begins working for you. Now you're in a space where your money is actually starting to work for you. Now you can invest a little something. You can have, say, a business ownership or a piece of a business ownership. Increase producing assets. So you may have a business, right? And in your business, you may be able to add something to increase your production in that, so you're making more money. Multiple streams of income. Now, let me pause on this for a second, because y'all help your boy out on this one. There are some people that say they're growing, and they say, "Oh, Stanley, I'm starting a nonprofit." I was like, "Okay, cool. I'm trying to understand the nonprofit world." It's like, "Yeah, we want to help so many people." Okay, great. And the question that I ask, and maybe I just don't understand it, but the question that I ask is, well, what money are you making? For profit, not nonprofit, for profit, right? You're making money for profit. Well, they were like, "Well, no, Stanley, I'm gonna help families out," and that's great. I have no issues with nonprofits at all. As a matter of fact, I love them. I'm part of a couple. I love it. But when you're talking individually, you have to have some monies yourself, right? And I'm not denying that. And then people will say, "Well, I get some grants." And well, if y'all haven't been looking at the news lately or getting your news from social media, the people that's in power right now, they have eliminated most of the grants, if not all of them. They've eliminated an incredible amount of grants, and it's putting a lot of nonprofits in tailspins, not because of something they did. It's just because the administration decided to go in a different direction. So now you're still relying on somebody else. How about let's go build our own, and then we self-fund our own foundations, and we don't have to worry about what the government say. I'll get to that another day, but y'all get my point. On the multiple streams of income, people will say, "Okay, yeah, I'm going to go sell makeup, and I'm going to sell a car, and I'm going to sell this, and I'm going to sell that," and never have nothing focused and in play. Now, I'm not denying having multiple streams of income, but let's begin building and going into that direction, all right? A lot of times, too, when you're building, Build and build on something that you like. Build on something that you'll do for free. Like for me, I'll talk and empower and converse with people for free. Well, outside of that, what can come with that? Well, you can start a counseling business. You can start a mentoring business. You can start a speaking business. You can write some books. See, right there, the core of it is you actually talking and conversing and empowering people. And then outside of that, you have a multitude of things that actually came, businesses that came out of that. So all of that, just keep that in mind, family. That's on your growth. Level 4 is legacy. You are no longer just building wealth for yourself. Legacy means you're not building wealth for yourself. What are you going to focus in on? Generational wealth, estate planning, giving, impact. Yeah, impact. You want to make some impacts in the community. Who was that? T.I. T.I., a pretty well-known rapper out of Atlanta. And this was something I heard him say, and I really enjoyed and loved this part. When he said, man, let's just go buy the block. Let's buy the block. So in some of the low-income neighborhoods, there's a word called gentrification. People were coming back in, and people were buying up a lot of stuff, displacing a lot of individuals to build things that they wanted to do. Well, that's great. What happens if we go and buy the block? Now we have houses that we can now help individuals be a part of or have their own family in. You can buy the block and rent it out, whatever it is. But now we're in a place to where we're making an impact positively, right? Mentoring others. I love that. I can talk about that for the rest of the week, right? Now, we have those. Let's go to the next thing. I'm just trying to get through this. I don't want to keep y'all on here long. We almost finished. Practical steps to move forward immediately. Yeah, like right now. So number 1, just go do your homework on this. You have to do this. You have to do this week, not next week, this week. All right. So number 1, know your numbers. Unfortunately, family, y'all will be surprised. Most people don't know their monthly expenses or their debt or how much they're worth. What you have in savings, if any, right? Whatever we measure, whatever we take notice of, we can always improve that, right? So if we know what is going to actually do that, then we can actually improve that all the way around. But if we don't do it, we can never improve that. So this week, let's go ahead and do this. Let's calculate exactly what's coming in. I mean exactly what's coming in. Get it down to the penny. Or if you're in Europe, get it down to the pence. Get it all the way down as close as you can to exactly how much is coming in. And then calculate exactly what's going out, right? This week, calculate what's going in and calculate what's going out. Now that we're saying that, what's going in, what's going out, pause here. Let's think about this. Once we get that, some people will be excited and some people are going to be frustrated because sometimes we are just not paying attention on what's coming in or what's going out. So that becomes a problem, right? So we don't have to have any other guessing. So we don't have any problem. Now, we want to build cash reserve. That's number 2. Build cash reserve. Before we even try to go after wealth, we have to build some kind of, I hate to use this word, but I'm going to use it today, security. Right? So our goal is the beginning. So if I started from scratch, I have $0. $0. Matter of fact, I'm in a hole. I'm negative. First thing we want to do is at least try to start to save at least $1,000. Something that we can put our hands on. If we got to hurry up and get on a flight to fly somewhere, we can put our hands on at least $1,000, right? And then we'll work towards, let's say 6 months of our expenses. Because if we do number 1 properly, we'll know what's coming in and what's going out. And then now we'll know exactly what we can do for 6 months of savings towards expenses. All right. When we do this, at least it'll give us some options in case somebody decides to let us go. And here's what I want to say this. I want you guys to think about this. Y'all remember Doge, when the federal government instituted this whatever called Doge? I don't even know whatever you want to call it. And they were talking about, they were just eliminating entire divisions within the federal government, career federal government employees, 20 years, 10 years, 15 years, 30 years, losing their jobs by an email. Well, when that happened is a lot of people, unfortunately, did not have the 6 months of expenses. And it created all kind of emergency frustration. People, unfortunately, was just going crazy, right? So we want to do that. So in case something like that happens, at least you have some levels of option, all right? Number 3, eliminate consumer debt. Yep, y'all already know what that is. Y'all already know what that is. I'm not even have to go into all of that. Just reduce your consumer debt. You may not be able to go get the Birkin bag. You may not be able to go fly to Paris. Just eliminate some of that. You may not be able to go shopping this week for a new shirt. Listen, eliminate that consumer debt. Just eliminate it. We just want to eliminate that. Because if we do that, that begins to increase the monies that's in our pocket, okay? Now, increase income. There are 2 ways to improve your finances. Spend less, earn more. It's that simple. Spend less, earn more. Hey, there you go. But most people, unfortunately, only focus in on cutting their expenses. That's what they only focus in on, just cutting their expenses. So empowered people, listen to this, empowered people focus on increasing their income, increasing their value, increasing their income. So one of the things I want you to do is ask this question. What skills can I develop? I'm not talking about you got to go back to school and go get another degree. No, I ain't talking about that. What skills can you develop right now, just on the internet? What skills can you develop? What problem can I solve? This is simple. What problem can I solve? You may already have a talent that you can solve a problem. Let me give you something very, very simple, right? So in New Orleans, Mardi Gras is a really, really big thing. A lot of crews, a lot of excitement around it. But inside of that, there's a lot of opportunities for people to do things. And I'm going to do something very simple. There's a very popular and powerful parade or organization called Zulu. And in Zulu, they have a coconut which they throw out. And I think there are some other ones that have like shoes and so on and so forth. But I'm going to just use Zulu. So there's coconut, right? So there's a whole art to painting the coconut, designing the coconut, and all of those things. Well, I wonder if you just start designing coconuts for people that's riding in the parade for that, right? Imagine how much you can charge, or whatever the going rate is, to charge those individuals for those coconuts. They pay you, you did that, and the only thing you changed differently was instead of going and lay on the sofa and watch TV the whole night, now you're actually doing something that's creating something. You're solving a problem for those individuals that may not be able to design their own. Just think about that. How many doctors, lawyers, accountants, and business people, professionals that just can't do it, don't have the time to do it. Just imagine you doing that for a few people. That will create some additional revenue, right? You created and increased your value. You solved the problem. You created another stream of income just on that. Around Christmas, you may be an incredible individual that can actually gift wrap. Right? You can wrap gifts and make it beautiful. Me, listen, you might get a bag and keep it moving. But you could create that. Well, you could create that. Yeah, that could create some revenue, right? So that's that. Number 5, own assets. Wealthy focus on acquiring assets. That's what we just focus on, acquiring assets. Example, acquiring a business, investing, acquiring real estate, acquiring intellectual properties. There's something in New Orleans that I noticed. It's in New Orleans East. There's a lot of, in my opinion, there's a lot of opportunity for acquisition of real estate and land and all of those things. And I'm like, I wonder if somebody's going to pick this up and begin doing some stuff and going into development. I think it's just a gold mine, right? So we have those things. So liabilities consume income. Assets create freedom. You think about this, liability consumes income. You're liable to something, you have a depreciating car and all that stuff. Yeah, it's just consuming income. You know, that's just sucking up the monies. But assets create freedom. Imagine if you bought a building and every single month your tenants, whether it's businesses or other opportunities, people leasing from you, all that stuff, that money now is coming back to you every single month, right? Y'all see the difference? So those are just some of the stuff. Let me give y'all some. Y'all can tell I did some research, baby. Let me give y'all some powerful financial truths. This is just some quotes for I thought was some very powerful people. Robert Kiyosaki, one of them says, financial freedom is available to those who learn about it and work for it. Let me say that again. Financial freedom is available to those who learn about it and work for it. That's what Robert Kiyosaki said. Warren Buffett, one of the most powerful investors in all of the history of the world, he said this: do not save what is left after spending, but spend what is left after saving. Woo! Let me say that again. Do not save what is left after spending, but spend what is left after savings. That's a good one. Quote number 3, this from John Maxwell. A budget is telling your money where to go instead of wondering where it went. That's from John Maxwell. Let me say that again. A budget is telling your money where to go instead of wondering where it went. John Maxwell. When I read that quote, it made me think about something. A friend of mine was talking to his advisor. He's extremely well off. I mean, very, very powerful. And his advisor told him, do not spend more than $5,000 a day. So, of course, you know, he got gazillions of dollars, and he's like, man, don't tell me don't spend no $5,000. I'll spend what I want. This is my money, right? But all she was saying to him was, I want to continuously making you wealthy, not you trying to figure out where this money going, right? So that's all she was saying, all right? Now, for all of my spiritual folks out there, because sometimes we get all of this confused inside of the church house, all my spiritual, powerful people, but I also wanted to put a little bit piece in here from a spiritual perspective on money, because people get it confused. They get money confused. But this is what I want to share. I want to break this down. Money is not the goal. Let me say that again. Money is not the goal. Money is just a tool. Money is not the goal. Stewardship is. That's the goal. Stewardship. So let me do this. Luke 16 and 10. Because I know sometimes y'all be trying to figure, let me help you. Whoever can be trusted with very little can also be trusted with much. That's in Luke 16:10. Because the principle behind that is this: faithfulness produces increase. Faithfulness produces increase. So if you manage small amounts well before expecting large amounts, manage small amounts well before expecting large amounts. See, you can't, and your Creator will never give you more than you can bear. He will also make sure before you have increase, you have the skills, the capacity, that's the word I'm looking for, the capacity to receive the increase. Because he said he will not put more on you than you can bear. Most people look at that in the negative side. It's not negative. It's not only the negative things, 55 people were hurt, and no, it's not just that, but it's also increase. If he know you cannot handle $25 billion right now, he's not going to give you $25 billion right now. You only may be able to understand $25,000, and then you just build that increase. All right. I know I'm helping somebody. All right, Proverbs 21 and 20. The wise store up choice food and olive oil, but the fools gulp theirs down. Think about that. You start storing up things for, you talk about a rainy day or things. You building your savings account. You're building your 6 months, 9 months, etc. of emergency funds, and then you build it to a year and 2 years. So you never have to worry about those things. Well, fools just go and spend it. But wise people store it up. They're storing it up. Listen to this. This is so good. They're storing it up not to hoard, but they're storing it up for an emergency. There's a difference. Because if you start talking about money, you get down to the root of money, and you start talking about what is money is currency. What is currency? The root word of currency is current. And current is a constant flow. And you constantly flowing and flowing and flowing. Money is not made to just be hoarded. It's made to flow. I'm gonna tell you, I ain't gonna get too deep into that, but y'all get my point, right? So when you're storing it up, it's not storing it up to go around tell people, look at me, look, I got all this money stored up. No, it's for constant flow. You're holding a certain part up from wisdom just in case there's an emergency. But the rest is for the constant flow. If you think about the 10, 10, 25, 55, it's a constant flow. There's nothing in there that's talking about we're just going to hold this money. I don't want to get into that, but y'all get my point. Y'all get my point, right? So now, where was I? Okay. So the principle: wise people prepare. They don't consume everything they can, so they're preparing. Think about this: if you have your year or 2 years stored up for yourself in case of an emergency, now you can actually begin to go into wealth and purchasing land and properties and all those things, or whatever it is that you want to do, businesses, intellectual properties, and now begin to allow it to flow and just flow. And now you're creating that wealth that you're talking about. Now you're able, because you're being wise and you're stewarding over all of this, and now your creator sees they're doing the wise and having the wisdom to deal with more and more wealth. Now we're starting to get into, instead of $25,000, now $25 million, and then so on and so on. So that's where we are, right? Let me give y'all another one. Proverbs 31, wealth gained hastily will dwindle. If you get it quick, it's going to dwindle. But whoever gather little by little will increase. So as you're building from $1,000 of, let's say, finally get yourself to $1,000 in your savings account, then the $2,000, and then you're creating all of this for your emergency. But now you're doing it slow by slow, as my boy would say, polka by polka. So you're doing those things, and you're doing it, and you're making it happen, and you're working, and you're doing it with wisdom. Sustained wealth is usually built gradually, not overnight. That's why so many people, when they win the lottery, they lose it in the next 6 months to a year. They're broke again, right? All right. The last one I'm gonna just share with you guys, because this is my spiritual people. Deuteronomy 8:18. Remember the Lord your God, for it is He who gives you the ability to produce wealth. The principle behind that is wealth creation is not merely about accumulation. It is about responsibility, purpose, and impact. Let me say that again. Wealth creation is not merely about accumulation. If I really dig into it, for me personally, it's really about the responsibility, the purpose, and the impact, because you want to do what your creator told you to do. All right? I hope this is helpful. So let's climb on out of here, and let's just do it. Let's just do it. Financial literacy. Do you understand money? That's financial literacy. Financial empowerment. What are you doing with what you understand? Woo! This is good. Literacy gives you the map. Empowerment gives you the movement. That's it. Literally gives you the map. Empowerment gives you the movement. The goal is not simply to make more money. Listen to this, write this down, and we're going to end it right here. The goal is to become a wise steward, build assets, create options, eliminate financial stress, and position yourself to bless future generations. Yep. Let me say that one more time. Write it down. The goal is to become a wise steward, build assets, create options, eliminate financial stress, and position yourself to bless future generations. That's why we're here. That's why we're here. Listen, I hope this was a blessing to you as it was for me. We're climbing on out of here. I'm sorry to keep y'all so long, but I thought this was so important. So listen, I will see you guys next week on the beaches of the world. I cannot wait, because no telling what's going to come out my mouth next week. I can't wait to see y'all. God blessing to everybody that's celebrating graduations. I don't know if I said this before or not. Congratulations. Great job on getting your high school diploma, getting promoted in middle school or elementary or pre-K, getting your bachelor's, your master's, your doctorate, or whatever it is. Congratulations from Let's Talk with Stanley Doucette. Hey, if you haven't, go and follow me on YouTube. Follow me on all of the social media platforms, and I will see you guys on the beaches of the world. God bless, and I'll see y'all guys next week. Peace and blessings. We out. Peace.